What's up, everybody? Welcome into another edition of Crush City Territory. I'm Chandler Rome, along with Tyler Stafford, where I am in a undisclosed Marriott property in Miami, Florida, where I just watched the Astros lose 6-4 at Lone Depot Park to not complete a sweep. Otherwise, the first two games of this series, Tyler, I thought the lineup looked as dangerous as it has looked all season. And heck, even in the Wednesday game, the game they lost. They stranded 9 base runners. They went 4 for 13 with runners in scoring position. They gave themselves every opportunity to come back in that game. I think for me, one of the bigger takeaways from this series is you saw this lineup at the full strength it can be right now, and it was pretty impressive to watch.
That's a good looking lineup. I mean,
Yeah.
we talked about, Correa even in the first series, the power hadn't been there before or hasn't been there recently, but it looked like something that could certainly come back, and his swing has looked really, he's driving the ball a lot to right center field, which is where, he made a name for himself of just hitting those, singles and doubles out to that alley and then pulling on pitches as they came in. But it does remind me, and I said it at the beginning of the year, not to bring up the one person who did not have a great offensive showing, but Correa and Cam Smith have very similar swings where when they're on, they're able to get those pitches low and away, drive them into right field. And, but yeah, I mean, they've all looked really good. Jesus Sanchez is good. Like
That
he's a
dude,
good hitter.
he does not get cheated, man.
No.
When he swings, it is powerful. He had a couple going down to one knee. He does not get cheated when he swings. It is something to watch. It was fun to see him back in Miami because again, we are all still getting to know him, and I think we I mean the beat writers and the media, obviously, but also the team. Like he knew a couple of guys before he got traded over here, but there's a lot of people that don't know much about him. Like the one thing I can just confirm outright, the dude is never not smiling. Like there's a smile on his face 100% of the time. He seems really just happy. He seems happy to be here, happy to be with the Astros. And I think, obviously coming back home to Miami after such a after the trade, coming back so quickly, I think that even added to his happiness. And he had a great 3 games here. Everyone did. I mean, they in 3 games in Miami, they had 17 extra base hits. This is the same lineup that scored 5 runs in 3 games at Fenway Park. Now, granted, the pitching that they faced at Fenway is a little more stiff than the pitching they faced in Miami. It was Sandy Alcantara looked a lot like the guy that we had been told is still working his way back from Tommy John. They faced Jansen Junk today. What an unfortunate name for a pitcher, a former Astros farmhand. Actually, he was claimed off of waivers at one point last year, and then I forgot who they start in the middle game. I forgot.
Who knows?
They completely destroyed him.
Is the outfield in Miami bigger than normal, or is their outfield that bad? Because it felt like there were a lot of balls that were getting down that I was not expecting to happen.
Their outfield is not very good. Their defensive outfield, some of the routes they took, some of just the first step. I mean, Correa hit a double today that, I mean, if you watch the thing, if the guy takes a halfway competent route to that line drive to right field, it's an easy out. The Astros will take it. Don't get me wrong, but yeah, the Marlins outfield did not distinguish themselves this week, and that was a rough watch. I watched these 3 games and just kind of wondered how the Yankees got swept by the Marlins because, look, I don't think the Marlins are not laughably bad by any means. They're a very adequate team, but that certainly did not look like the team that had like the second best record in the National League since June coming in. They've got some flaws. Obviously, I was waiting for the Astros to just have that one big swing today to kind of come back in that game, but did not happen. One of the reasons they were so down in that game was because Spencer Arrighetti started. Um, the first member of the cavalry is back, and I think it underscored, Tyler, why at least and I think you're on the same page here too, why we've talked about for the last couple months, like it's one thing to activate these guys off of the injured list. It's one thing to get Spencer Arrighetti back on a major league mound. It's going to be one thing in a week or so to get Christian Javier back on a major league mound. A whole other thing is their efficacy. And Spencer Arrighetti looked like a guy that had not pitched in the major leagues in 123 days.
Yeah, and that happens. That's why you try to get them back as soon as possible, and have a little bit of a run up, because like we said, you need two of these guys to be in a groove in October, and so they're looking for those guys. You would expect Arrighetti to have been closer to being ready to be back. But yeah, he was all over the place today. But I mean, it's one start. I think this one you just kind of throw away and move on. If it becomes a pattern, that's obviously an issue. But I don't think you can look too much into one start, especially because they were trying to get him back to the major leagues as quickly as possible. If they didn't need him up here, he probably could have made, 2 or 3 more starts or whatever in the minors to continue his rehab.
Yeah, so there's a couple things that I want to get on with the Spencer Arrighetti start today. First, he called them growing pains, so we'll call them we'll call them growing pains.
I don't trust the Astros doctors with growing pains. That's going to turn into something terrible here.
Nor should you. Mm-hmm. Basically, he was asked if he thought he was rusty. Joe Espada kind of he said that Spencer Arrighetti looked a little rusty. Spencer pushed back a little bit, said, I wouldn't say it was rust. I would say it was growing pains. And this was probably one of the most odd starts, whether it was him coming back after a long absence or not. Like if this was just a random guy pitching in his turn in the rotation, this would have been an odd just stat line. He got 16 swings and misses today, which is his third most in a game in his major league career. He also allowed 11 hits in 3 2/3 innings. He had 4 infield singles. He had 6 of the hits he allowed were hit 82 miles an hour or softer, but he also allowed 7 balls in play hit 98 miles an hour or harder. It was a very odd outing. And I think it was one of these things, it really kind of spoke to where he is. You saw that it's in there. Like, you don't get 16 swings and misses by accident. Like, the stuff and the spin and the way he was manipulating the baseball, like, it is in there. However, it's hard to say he missed a ton of bats when he gave up 11 hits. I mean, giving up 11 hits in 3 2/3 innings. Now, look, there were a couple plays behind him that I don't know if should have been made, but Mauricio Dubon is a guy that on that ground ball, I think Liam Hicks hit it. Dubon had a range to his left, and it was kind of against the shift, but that's a ball he usually at least keeps on the infield. I don't know if they get an out there, but he usually keeps it on the infield. Jesus Sanchez did not look like he judged a line drive very well. Could have dove for the ball, could have at least kept running and tried to catch it. Instead, it bounced in front of him for a single in that first inning. But this was not a start where, like, you can say it was all bad luck. I mean, he gave up some rockets. He was getting hit around. The swing and miss got better as the game went on, but the pitch efficiency just was not there. So I see what he's saying, that, there was some stuff there to like. There's some stuff there. There were some stretches where you look like, oh, that looked like vintage Spencer Arrighetti. But Spencer Arrighetti is also a guy that, as a rookie, struck out almost 11 batters per 9 innings. He is at his best when he is missing bats and getting strikeouts, and he didn't do that today. Maybe that comes with time, but he didn't do that today. I think the bigger thing, Tyler, is, it's fine what you just said, and it's fine what I'm talking about. Like, yeah, it's his first start back. Like, we'll give him a mulligan. You have 47 games left in a regular season where, like, if the Mariners beat the White Sox twice in the next 2 days, your division leads down to a game and a half. There's no time to give mulligans or like, oh, just growing pains or rust and he'll be better next. Like, no, they need to win these games, and they need these guys to get deep into games. They need these guys to be more effective than Spencer Arrighetti was. And you are now seeing, because they chose not to address the pitching staff at the trade deadline, you are going to be counting on stuff like this to get you through the next 47 games. And I'm not sure that that's the best gamble to take.
Yeah, I mean, you certainly would have liked to have picked up pitching at the deadline. From the reports that came out, I still I don't think you trade, even though it was, I guess, Spencer Arrighetti who they wanted for Cease. So maybe that's one that you could look at and say, well, who would you have rather had start today? But I mean, like we said, these things happen, and this has also kind of been what Spencer Arrighetti has been his whole career. Like we talked about, he strikes out a ton of guys. His stuff is really good, but the numbers have never been there consistently. But again, one start, the strike zone was a mess. What was his name? Megan Trainer, who was the umpire?
Willie Trainer,
Okay,
Megan's older
Megan's
brother.
husband. Okay,
Megan's older
got
brother.
it. He took her last name.
Uh-huh.
It's all about the baseball. Thank you.
I don't know who Megan Trainer is.
The All About the Bass song.
Okay.
No Treble.
She sings that?
Yeah.
Did you know I didn't know Megan the Stallion? Did you know that I did not know Megan the Stallion was from Houston until like a year ago?
That's interesting. That was quite a bit of the marketing at the beginning.
I'm very white, in case you.
There was the Popeyes sauce, right? Wasn't there like a Megan the Stallion Popeyes sauce that was like a Houston roots thing? Anyway, this might just be, a normal-ish Spencer Arrighetti star. I don't think he's going to do this on a consistent basis. I think he's better than what he showed today. I do want you to ask, though, to me, rust and growing pains indicate literally the same thing. And I would like you to follow up with Spencer Arrighetti and just say, look, no shame behind it. What does that mean? What's the difference between rust and growing pains? Because I feel like that's exactly how I would describe two of these same things.
Reading between the lines, I think he meant that. I think he took rust to mean like he wasn't physically ready to pitch, like just was getting fatigued, was getting tired. Again, this is my hypothesis. This is me like reading his body language, reading kind of the tone with which he responded to the question. I think he thought it was insinuating that he was not physically ready to pitch. That was not the case. He said he felt strong. They had him on an 80 to 85 pitch count. I think he threw 86. So they took him out in the middle of the fourth inning. But everyone said that he felt okay physically, that he could have gone longer if they wanted him to. If he was pitching better, he probably would have gone longer, but they got him out right at 86 pitches. Yes, I think it will get better. Obviously, like when you're making your first start in 123 days, you expect this. But again, because they did not add any reinforcements, these starts are going to be magnified. And you're going to wonder, what if? You're going to wonder, hey, what if they – and I'm not saying they had to go get Dylan Cease. Like, what if they went and got, I don't know, like Andrew Heaney, who didn't end up getting traded. But if they got just someone else that, again, had been pitching every fifth day, had been in a rhythm, had not had 4 months off, I think that question is going to be brought up if these struggles for Arrighetti, Javier, when he gets back, if those persist. And I will say this before we go to a break. Astros fans got a look at what it looks like when you are trying to pitch coming off of Tommy John surgery on Monday. They lit up Sandy Alcantara, just lit him up. I know they didn't get anything the first time through the order. They were hitting missiles right at everyone. And then the minute the second time rolled around, they just absolutely kicked his head in. And Sandy Alcantara had his Tommy John in October of 2023 and came back to pitch this season. He had 17 months of Tommy John recovery. If Christian Javier pitches for this team next week, as everyone is indicating he will, it will be 14 months post-op. And again, as we have talked about ad nauseum, every body is different. Everyone heals at their own pace. Everyone can do different things. This is not to suggest that Sandy Alcantara and Christian Javier are traveling the same recovery path. Maybe Christian Javier comes back and is a medical marvel and has a sub-2 ERA for the rest of the year and leads this team to a World Series. But I think it just goes to show, you saw on Monday the dangers of what the Astros are trying to do and the big gamble that they're taking, hoping that these guys can help them Not again, we've talked about it. It's one thing to activate them off the injured list. It's another thing for them to pitch well in games. Do you think, Tyler, we really quantified that gamble as much as we should have before the deadline?
Counterpoint, you remember when Justin Verlander
Well,
had
he's
the
a
Tommy
freak.
John
He's a
and then he won the Cy Old Award as like a 50-year-old? Yes, I agree. That's the same thing everybody says whenever people get fussy about pitch counts. It's like, do you know Nolan Ryan threw 250 pitches in a game? And it's like, yeah, he's a freak. There's one of them. Um, yeah, I mean they needed pitching. We said that the whole time. Of course they needed pitching. That's just the risk that you take, and it's also because you have so many injuries. Like it's not like they knew coming into the season that was a problem that desperately needed to be addressed. It was certainly one that they could improve on, but that's not the spot that you looked at on the roster and was like, there's just nothing here. Or what happens if one guy gets injured? It's like, well, there's like 8 of them. Somebody's going to work out. And it just happened that 6 of the 8 guys have all been injured, and you just haven't been able to rely on everybody. So we'll see. I mean, they needed pitching. They weren't able to get it. There wasn't a lot of pitching moved at the deadline. A lot of the big name guys didn't end up moving, and we'll see. But I don't think that what we saw today from Arrighetti is something that will be repeated often.
Yeah, I mean, to be honest with you, I am far. I don't worry about much. I don't care. But if I were the Astros, and if I were a fan that is emotionally invested in what's going on, I would worry a lot more about Christian Javier and Luis Garcia because, like we talked about, like Spencer Arrighetti has pitched in the major leagues this season. Like he didn't need some reconstructive surgery. He broke his thumb, and I'm not trying to downplay that injury, but certainly a less significant injury, certainly a less laborsome recovery and less time away. So yeah, maybe this is a one-off for Spencer Arrighetti, but Christian Javier, Luis Garcia, JP France, when those guys get back, I think it'll be a far more telling experience.
I don't have time to worry about all of these new worries. I'm still worried that Joey Loperfido might be awesome. Like how dare you want me to worry about extra people?
Joey's been pretty good.
He's crushing it over there. You see what they did this series?
I mean,
they scored 45 runs in 3 games against the Rockies.
I mean, the Rockies are historically awful, but
well,
yes, it's hard to do. That's hard to do.
It's because of Joey Loperfido. That's why.
It is. It's all because of Joey. Joey's going to send us into a message from DraftKings.
The dog days of summer means MLB is fully heating up, and so is your shot to score big. Download the Pick 6 app for the easiest way to turn your baseball takes into actual cash. It's crazy simple. Just pick more or less on the stats for 2 or more of your favorite players, and boom, you're in the mix for big cash prizes. No gimmicks, no weird rules. And get this, all new Pick 6 customers will instantly get $50 in bonus picks on just a $5 entry. Download the DraftKings Pick 6 app right now and use code FOUL. That's code FOUL. New customers play $5 and get $50 in bonus picks instantly. Ride the upside where a few bucks can turn into a bag. Only on DraftKings Pick 6. The crown is yours.
Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Help is available for problem gambling. Call 888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org in Connecticut. Must be 18 and over. Age and eligibility restrictions vary by jurisdiction. Pick 6 not available everywhere, including New York and Ontario. Void where prohibited. 1 per new customer. Bonus awarded as non-withdrawable Pick 6 bonus picks that expire in 14 days. 8/24/25 at 11:59 p.m. Eastern Time. Terms at pick6.draftkings.com/promos.
Look at Tyler finally pulling
Watch out.
Doing some ad reads. Look at that.
Yeah, I hear that they had to cut me a bunch because there was too many ums or something. I tried that like 15 times before I sent that one in too.
Did you try to read the disclaimer at the end? The one where
I didn't see that, but I read the like fast part of gambling problem calls. I did that part, and reading out the phone number is difficult.
It's so hard. I tried to do it then, and I was like, no, you're putting the actual guy that they pay to talk fast. You're putting that. You're not doing me. Speaking of injuries, we got to the ballpark on Monday and were informed by the Astros media relations official on site that general manager Dana Brown would be addressing us before Joe Espada did his pregame media availability. All we were told is that it would be about Isaac Paredes, at which point I presumed this was going to be the formal end of Isaac Paredes' season, something that we had been expecting for a while. They traded for 2 third basemen at the deadline, one of whom they are paying an enormous amount of money. So that should have signaled that Isaac Paredes is out for the season. Plot twist, he's actually maybe not. So Isaac Paredes, according to Dana Brown, Isaac Paredes was given, he sought multiple opinions for his hamstring, his right hamstring strain, was given 2 choices. They said, you can rehab this and you can rest, rehab. We'll give you a PRP injection, platelet rich plasma. We'll give you one of those. You can rest and rehab and try to come back this season. Or you can get surgery that carries a 6-month recovery. Isaac Paredes has opted to rehab his hamstring injury in hopes of returning this season. This caused a stir on social media. I think there are some fans that believe the Astros could have forced a grown man to have surgery. That is not the case. They do not have that authority. They can advise. They can give him the pros and cons. They can lay out, here's how it would look. They cannot force a man to be knocked out on anesthesia and have his leg cut open. So that was out of the question. It raises a lot of interesting points that Dana Brown didn't really have the answer to. My first thought is, like, if he rests and rehabs and like he can't come back and eventually has to have the surgery, like is it a one or the other thing? Like, is surgery inevitable here, or is it one of these things where he is going to be able to just rest, rehab, and recover and be ready to go for spring training? That's not an answer that we got because, again, Dana Brown's not a medical professional. I don't think he really knows the answer. But it was interesting, Tyler. It was an interesting decision. Look, I have not seen Isaac Paredes since he injured himself. We have not spoken to him, so I can't give you what's going on in his head, but certainly not the news that I was expecting to hear when we were told Dana Brown was going to talk to us. I'm sure it hit you by a little bit of surprise as well.
Yeah, I mean, look, more power. If he's able to come back, awesome. I don't know where he would play or where he would be able to move with a torn hamstring. I've never torn a hamstring before, but one time I did sneeze getting out of bed and my back hurt bad enough that I called out of work at a job where I sat in a chair all day. So I don't have that in me to tear a hamstring and decide I'd like to come back to work at my job where I have to run on this hamstring a lot. So you can't fault him for wanting to do it. I agree that the timing would be nice to have the surgery and be back, hopefully at the start of next season. But look, 6 months from October is April. Like it's not like, even if he comes back this year and he's not able to do it, and then it's 6 months from that point, at most you're talking about a couple weeks into the season, the difference. I don't think it really matters in the long run. And if he feels like he has a chance to come back, of course, that's what he's going to do.
And to be clear, again, we do not have the answer as to whether surgery is going to be the inevitable course of action here. We don't know whether Isaac Paredes is just kicking the can down the road and like trying.
I hope not. That hamstring's torn.
Oh, yeah, he could do it with his left hand. He can do it with his left foot though. That could help. But he probably has to brace himself.
I don't want him walking down the road kicking things.
Yeah, probably not. Probably not the best for him. As far as like where he would play, Dana Brown literally just goes, "We'll cross that bridge if we get there." Like they haven't even considered that. I personally don't know how that would work, especially if Yordan Alvarez is back, which they expect him to be back. He'll be the DH. Jose Altuve's got to play somewhere. So that means he'll either have to play second base or left field to keep him in the lineup. I don't think you're putting Isaac Paredes at first base. You're not putting him on the like. There would be nowhere for him to play in the start.
They'll figure it out. Something will work out. By the time he's back, somebody else will be hurt. It'll work out.
That's honestly probably how it's going to work out. But
yeah,
it does. But it does for, and I think you guys mentioned it a little bit on the pod that I missed or slept through, but it does kind of bring up what this roster is going to look like after this season, because all these guys are still here and they're going to have this, presuming Isaac Paredes is healthy next season, they're going to have this same problem. Like, where do you play him? Do you tell him all off season you're playing second base, learn how to play second base and get better at it? But as I wrote this on the day of the deadline, given how significant this hamstring strain is, like, how normal of an offseason is Isaac Paredes going to have? Like, is he going to be able to do baseball activity? Is he going to be able to do his normal ramp up and workout? Like, if they need him to play second base next year to accommodate this roster, like, he may not have an offseason to do it because he's hurt. As we have discussed numerous times, evaluators and scouts and officials, both inside and outside of the Astros organization, strongly doubt that Isaac Paredes can play second base at any capable level on an everyday basis. So it would be one of these things where they would have to tell him, like, when the season ends this year, like, hey, you're coming into camp next year as a second baseman, so spend the next 3 months learning how to play it. And if he's too injured to do that, you kind of wonder how the roster looks. Have you given any thought? Again, they're trying to get through this season. We talked about it when they made the Correa trade. They made the Correa trade for this season. They're not thinking about 2026 yet, but are you thinking about, have you thought about kind of how this roster is going to look and what they're going to do with Isaac Paredes next year?
Yeah, they'll trade somebody, right? I mean,
who do you think it'll be?
I would assume if Paredes were healthy, that would make the most sense, because that's somebody that you would actually get value back for. You're obviously not going to trade Correa after all of this. Plus, he has a no trade clause, and you can't trade Jeremy Pena. You can't. You can't. If it were his walk year, which it isn't, he still has 2 years, correct?
Yeah.
They're not trading 2 years of control of Jeremy Pena. That there's no chance that they do that. So it would have to be Paredes, or
I'm going to clip that. No chance.
There is no chance that they trade 2 years of Jeremy Pena. But we'll see. I mean, the scenario, of course, this is a year from now, they'll have to figure this out, but the scenario would just have to be perfect where a team needs that immediately and is willing to give up everything, and they're not in the American League, because you're not going to do that. So, it would be crazy. But yeah, somebody's going to have to be traded, but they'll figure that out eventually.
I mean, I think the obvious answer would be to find someone to take on Christian Walker's contract.
Yeah.
I'm not sure that they can do, like, again, if he keeps playing like this, if he keeps playing like he's played for the last month,
then don't trade him.
It'll be but again, it'll be a little bit easier to get somebody to take on that money if he's playing like this. But if he's playing like this,
but you'd also rather have a guy who's a Gold Glove first baseman. Like, if you're getting rid of him and hoping that Isaac Paredes can play first base for 2 years, you have him for the same amount of time anyway.
Well, just remember that when they had the Nolan Arenado deal on the 1 yard line, like, the whole plan was to play Isaac Paredes at first base. Like, they had already figured this out.
Yeah, I know that they're comfortable with that, but I'm saying if you're having to just dump the contract of Walker, you might as well just keep Walker and get value back for Paredes, if that makes sense.
Yeah, but I mean, at the end of the day, you'd get a haul for Jeremy Pena.
Yeah, but a haul that's majorly, because that's the other thing, is the Astros are in a different window too,
right? Where
I mean, of course, they did get major league ready talent with Kyle Tucker, but that was with 1 year left of control. I do not see a scenario where they would trade 2 years of Pena, especially after he's going to be your best player by a large margin this year. I don't think so.
I mean, they're not going to extend him, just like they weren't going to extend. Like, there are
can't even extend Cam Smith now.
They can't. And we will talk about why that is right after another message from our friends at Foul Territory.
Kratz, there are a lot of people out there that pay rent and they don't get anything for it.
Might as well change that. You can get some rewards for flights, hotels, tons of stuff.
With Bilt, you can earn flexible points that can be redeemed towards airlines, hotels, a future rent payment, your next Lyft ride, and much more. It doesn't stop there. Bilt is about making your entire neighborhood more rewarding. You can dine out at your favorite local restaurants and enjoy experiences just for Bilt members every month. They're turning a monthly expense into an opportunity to earn rewards and discover the best that your neighborhood has to offer. Your rent is finally working for you. Earn points on rent and around your neighborhood, wherever you call home, by going to joinbilt.com/foul. That's joinbilt.com/FOUL. Make sure to use our URL so they know we sent you. Joinbilt.com/foul. Go for it.
So there's not been much to talk about the Cam Smith hype train, as I know that's tough for you because he has continued to scuffle. He hit some balls hard in Miami. He got a couple hits in the first game, I think, off of Alcantara. He hit some balls hard at Fenway too, but just has not gotten a ton of luck. The at bats are looking better. Like the quality of the contact is better, but still, it's not where they need him to be. It's not where the production needs. But again, if the whole lineup is functioning how it did in Miami, it doesn't matter because they can stick Cam Smith in the bottom of the lineup, hope he gets on base and turn it over. And you don't really notice him as much when other guys are going well. So, but something happened today that is going to be pretty instructive for Cam Smith's long-term future. Red Sox he's with the big league team now, Roman Anthony, who everyone got to see for 3 games this past weekend at Fenway Park, used to be the top position player prospect in baseball, is now like firmly hitting in the top third of Boston's order every night. The Red Sox signed him to an extension. They gave him an extension that for the base is 8 years and $130 million. But there are escalators and performance bonuses and club options that could take the deal to a grand total of about $230 million. Why, you ask, what does this have to do with Cam Smith? This is the going rate. You are looking at the going rate for a young, really, really good premier talent. Now, as people pointed out, when I pointed it out on X, when the news broke, Roman Anthony is objectively, as of this point, a better player than Cam Smith. He has had a better start to his career. He had more prospect cachet. Like, he is right now a better player than Cam Smith. What I can tell you is that sometimes doesn't matter. Agents and camps use similar deals like this as blueprints for negotiating. Roman Anthony is 21 years old and has, 47 games of major league experience. Cam Smith is 22 years old. They both play corner outfield. Reminder of that. Cam Smith is 22 years old, now has 99 games of major league experience. They're about the same in WAR. Granted, Anthony has played fewer games, but Cam Smith had a 46-game stretch this season where his numbers were better than Roman Anthony's. Suffice to say, these are two guys that same amount of service time, came up at the same time. They play the same position. They are the same sort of budding stars as one another. I'm not sitting here saying that Cam Smith is going to get $130 million or $230 million. I'm not saying that he's worth that. All I'm saying is the Red Sox signing Roman Anthony to that extension is going to make it more difficult for the Astros to get anything done with Cam Smith, if that is even their intention. Because, as we have said, Tyler, the time to do this was before opening day. The time to do this was before Cam Smith stepped on a major league field. The Red Sox did that with Christian Campbell, who broke spring training with the team. They gave him an 8-year, $60 million extension before he played a big league game. Christian Campbell is now in AAA and really doesn't have many signs of coming back up and cracking at least this Red Sox roster. So sometimes those things backfire on you. You've got to take a risk. And I'm not saying that the extension backfired on Campbell. He could still end up being a great player and it can end up being a bargain. But this deal with Roman Anthony is going to make extending Cam Smith that much harder because his agents are going to use this deal and they're not going to say he is worth this. They're not going to say he's worth more, but they're going to say, well, if Roman Anthony got this, we need to be in that ballpark somewhere.
That's a ballpark I'm fine living in. 8 years, $130 million is $16.5 million a year. In 8 years, that's going to look like nothing if they're good at all. I mean, Kyle Tucker this year in arbitration got $16.5 million. 8 years from now is going to be double that for a player of his caliber. It'll be fine, and it's not the type of deal that destroys your team. You know, this isn't like the Pirates payroll or whatever, where if you have one player making $16 million who isn't performing, your whole team craters. I mean, that's a good deal. But again, like that's what it takes to do these types of things. But it makes sense from the Astro side and from the player side. That is a more than reasonable deal for someone who has already shown that, you know, they are major league caliber players. Victor Carantini, I mean, he's having an incredible year. Victor Carantini is making $6 million. You're locking up a Cam Smith type player for $10 million more a year than what you were expecting to get out of Victor Carantini this year is just a good deal.
And also let's also remember, you need to remember the structure of this Roman Anthony deal. He's not getting everything up. Like this isn't like the AAV is the exact same every year. It's his first couple years, his salary is only like $2 million and then $3 million and then $5 million. And then as he gets into ARB, it's the salary is commensurate with what they believe his ARB salary would be. And then the last 3 years of the deal, that's when it really kicks in of like, he's making $25 to $30 million a year. So it's a backloaded
problem. Figure it out then.
It's a backloaded deal.
Yeah. Who cares?
But when you look at it, like, even if it's just a $130 million deal with no escalators that could get it higher, like that'd be the biggest deal in franchise history. It'd be the biggest deal Jim Crane has ever given a player of any ilk. And I'm not sure that they're ready to go there yet. I'm not sure. Like, again, Jim has, as we talk, I wrote about this at the deadline and you guys have talked about it and then we're talking about it now. Like Jim's seen a lot of success using his methods, using his procedures and using kind of the way he does business. I don't see that changing anytime soon. I don't see him waking up and like, hey, you know what? Cam Smith's had 2 terrible months, but his people want us to give him $180 million. Like, let's do it. Like, no, I don't think that's the case. And I just realized I'm wrong. That wouldn't be the biggest deal in franchise history. It'd be the second biggest because Jose Altuve got $150 million in his second extension. So, but it's fascinating to look at because it's one of these things like it's a butterfly effect kind of thing. Like rookie, like everyone has talked about wanting to be like Dana Brown, what he did in Atlanta, right? Like he didn't do it. Alex Anthopoulos did it. But when Dana Brown came to Houston, he was all about we're locking all these guys up. We're getting all these guys in just like we did in Atlanta. And that hasn't manifested. They've done one pre-ARB extension. It was with Christian Javier, and he hasn't pitched in 15 months. So that's not really working out very well. And I'm not saying it won't work out, but it's one of those things. Like I think it also underscores how you've got to take risks sometimes. Like you can't wait for these guys to prove their worth to you, because by the time these guys do prove their worth to you, they're probably already out of your price range, just in terms of how Jim Crane and how the Astros run their business.
Yeah, I could see if it were maybe even a longer contract, it's starting to make more sense for a team too, where it's because again, Jim Crane could look at this and say, why would I pay someone $100 million for 8 years of control when I know that I'm going to get 6 years? And if you're performing that well, I'll be happy to pay you that in arbitration. And if you're not, I don't have to pay you that much anyway. So like, what is those 2 extra years of control worth? Especially when you can keep pumping out talent like the Astros have done. So, either way is fine. He's here for a while. I agree. I mean, I don't think that they would extend him. They had the Alex Bregman extension. They've had some of those things, but
the Alex Bregman extension was great work by Jeff Luna, because that was an absolute fleece job, and to the point where Alex Bregman left the agent that negotiated it for him for another agent. I don't think that was specifically that had something to do with it, but that deal would not be taken today. Like, you could not do that deal today.
Well, there you go.
It's going to be hard.
Speaking of extensions, you remember John Singleton signing that extension before?
Yeah, I do.
And it didn't hurt the Astros. It was fine. Good for them.
He's still in the organization.
I know. Welcome back. Do you think that they kept his jersey? Like, did they just pull it out of storage? Or
at this point, like, they should just never throw anything with John Singleton's name.
They have a locker ready for him.
Just any at either Sugarland or Houston. Just keep his locker.
Yeah,
he'll be back at some point.
Hey, yeah, good.
I may have said this on another episode, but I was talking to someone with the Astros, like, when Singleton was still on the team, and he came out of the dugout, and we just kind of looked at each other and said, in 15 years, like, I looked at the person I was talking to and said, you'll probably be retired. God willing, I still will not be covering the Astros in 15 years. I'll be somewhere else doing something, maybe out of the industry. Who can say? But the one thing that will always be constant, John Singleton will somehow still be on this team in 15 years. He will be on this team, taking it at bat in the 7th inning against a right-handed leverage reliever.
Oh, I bet he'd be a great first base coach. Just chest popped out, just spitting seeds the whole, like, I bet he'd rule at that.
He'd be intimidating too.
Yeah.
He'd like intimidate the first baseman standing there. Like, I wouldn't want to turn around Johnson. That's a big man.
Smart.
Yeah. The Astros are going to the Bronx this weekend.
And you're skipping it, right?
I'm not. Yes, I am skipping it. I will not be in the Bronx this weekend.
Come on. What bar are you going to have to go to watch it, since you can't do it at home?
Well, the Friday and Sunday are national games.
Oh, okay.
I'll be able to.
You lucked out.
I'll be able to watch those. Don't worry. I'll be able to watch the team I'm paid to cover. That'll be great.
You're welcome to come over here, and we watch it on my phone on mute while I'm playing with the kids. So you're welcome to come do that with me.
Is that would I have to play with the kids?
Oh, we played a couple Bluey games today. It's keepy uppy. There's a little balloon that spins, and you hit the popper. Did that for a good while. Come on down. It's a great time.
I'm sure your kids are great, but I usually pass on anything related to children.
Okay.
But I'm sure yours are lovely. They're big fans of the show.
Oh yeah, they listen a lot. They did recognize you the other day somewhere. I forget. It popped up, and they were like, "There's Daddy's friend." So there you go. That's you in our house.
At least I'm someone's friend.
Uh-huh.
I'll take what I can get. We will talk more about the Astros going to the Bronx with Josh Reddick on Friday morning before the series starts. Should be an interesting one. The Astros will throw Hunter Brown and Framber Valdez in the first two games. They are TBA on Sunday against Max Fried. But Hunter Brown will face Cam Schittler in the first game. That's going to be a tough one for a lot of broadcasters to say. And then Luis Heel will pitch on Saturday against Framber Valdez. We'll talk more about that on the next episode of Crush City Territory. Until then, you can follow me on X at Chandler_Rome. You can follow Tyler at Tyler C. Stafford. As always, you can rate and review us on Apple. You can rate us and comment on the Spotify episodes. You can also subscribe to the YouTube channel so you can get notified every time we post a new video. Please, if you do watch the YouTube videos, please give them a like. That helps us out a lot. Leave some comments. That helps us out a lot to get our reach out there. We'd really appreciate it. Like I said, we'll be back on Friday to preview Astros, Yankees, and the Bronx, where Jose Altuve will be, I'm sure, warmly greeted by everyone that attends. And in addition to Carlos Correa, who a week ago I would not have said Carlos Correa is going to the Bronx this weekend, but things have gone real weird here in the last week or so, and we've had you covered, and we will keep covering it, and we'll be back and talk to you soon. Thanks, guys.
Good moon tonight. Bye.